The Adventures of Lily from Cold Creek Farm. It's a long title, but like that's where it was. It was in a farm that was called Cold Creek Farm, and her name is Lily. And then the feature film that I'm doing is called Starlight and You. You can find it on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, YouTube. And we also have a fiscal sponsorship. It's for investments, so it's a tax deductible. And this is really opening to people, local businesses, small businesses. I really target that, especially in Washington. I'm like, you see Walmart or whatever making these big commercials. Why don't you guys do that? And here's an opportunity for you to be in a film where we can go literally shoot, like there's a wedding scene in this film. So like if you're a wedding shop, we go to your wedding shop and we film it there. You can be a background in that section. We showcase one of your wedding dresses on a lead who is also a celebrity. Your logo's on there, and it's going to be showing all over the world. And then you get your money back because of tax deductibles. So how cool is that? So we have those incentives, product placement, investment, angel donors, and again, also going to the churches, Christian churches or non-denominational. This is a story about family value, friendship, romance, these values that a lot of times are lost, especially with family unity. So it really is, again, it's a unique film, and it also has this market for Spanish speakers as well as English, Italian speakers. Our goal is for it to be for the U.S., for Spain and Latin America, and of course, anywhere else we can send it. So yeah, the dream is ambitious, and I strongly believe in it. I think it's going to happen.
Has your life, your dreams been interrupted? Good news. It is possible to reinvent our lives. People are doing it every day, and some are brave enough to share the struggles, disappointments, and challenges. If you are looking for a new beginning, a do-over, or to rediscover your passion, maybe even find a new one, then grab a cup of coffee and let's talk. Interrupted, Act 2, Reinventing Your Legacy, with your host, Coach Lori.
Lilia Ahearn is an actor, but she's also a mom. She's also written a movie, and I don't know if these are published, but you write children's stories for your kids.
Yes, I've written one book. I mostly tell them, I'm in the process of writing another one, but actress and producer would be the main.
I met you at a kind of a networking event because you do have a movie that's coming up. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, yes. And I'm like, which one? Just kidding. No, Starlight and You is the one that I'm doing. It's a feature film about my life and, my love story, which is very much like a movie. That's why I'm making it.
And I got to sit across from your husband. What does he do for a living?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, his background is astrophysicist, so he's a doctor and astrophysicist. Something about the stars, which is the theme of the movie. He's a data analyst, and I'm sure he's going to say that's not what I do, but something with that.
Yeah.
That's always so.
I thought it was funny because you think of him as this serious, data guy, and then you're like, Lilia, creativity.
He needed me in his life. I'm literally his little bubble of joy. I hope so. Most of the time I make him smile.
And how many kids do you have?
We have 3, 2 boys and a girl.
Oh, that's me too. I had a girl and then 2 boys.
Yeah, that's how I am. Sister and then brothers.
Oh, cute.
The opposite.
So do you want to tell us about the movie, or I don't want to let the cat out of the bag?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it. Yeah. Well, how I said, it is based on my love story. I would say 80% is true and 20% is fiction because, why not? It's a fantasy world. Well, it's a love story. It's about a woman who falls in love with this future person that she never met, but she meets him in a dream. And then when she meets him in real life and hugs him, her soul automatically knows who he is. It is definitely not your chick flick movie. It is very much realistic how life is. But at the same time, the cool thing is that it's based on a true story. So it can happen to anyone, as it did to me.
I love that. What made you decide, I'm going to make this into a movie?
I was on a podcast like this one, actually. Yeah, it was with a friend, and we were actually talking about a previous movie that I did in Canada. It was a short film. It was Capture Hearts. I was just saying that I was in this town where a lot of films are done, which is Hallmark. And so I just briefly talked about my personal love story, and he's like, "Wow, your love story really sounds like a Hallmark movie. You should make it into a film." And I'm like, you know what? I should, because there isn't a lot of love stories in Washington. We have a lot of other type of genres, but not of this refreshing type. That really prompted me to start going in that direction, and it has really grown and evolved, and to the point that I'm like, it's not just for Washington, but also for Spain, Latin America, and any place that people watch it. So it has a lot of cool marketability.
I don't know if it's evolution, like you go, oh, I'll turn it into a movie. Then what? You have to write it?
Yeah, well, yeah, you start with the script, and then you reach out to people who normally are interested in doing film, and then they have their network, or they have their vision, and it kind of evolves from there. You're like, oh, I can do this, and it just starts growing like a spider web, connection of impossible adventures, and then all of a sudden you end up a producer, or some part of the film, and it just continues from that.
And so are you in it, or does somebody play you?
Somebody's gonna be playing me. So we already cast everyone except for the leads, which is myself. It's so funny to cast myself. It's like almost like a documentary or a legacy that my kids are gonna see one day. Like, oh, that's me. I mean, so yeah, I'm the producer and writer, but I also will be co-starring as the best friend of the lead. So it's funny because I'm gonna be playing my best friend, and then I'm also gonna be casting, or help, not casting myself, but working with a casting director to cast my husband. So that will be a journey. I mean, like, just trying to meet my husband and trying to find someone close to my husband will be a little bit hard. But again, it doesn't have to be exact, as long as they have the look and that nature that kind of brings in the theme.
Awesome. And so you casted everyone, and then, like, when do you start filming?
With the help of Melissa, we cast together. She is the one who has been helping me a lot. Part of the team work that we were doing, actually, we just had a logistic meeting not that long ago. We came up with a date. I know it's not the best date, but at least people remember it. September 11th. That's when we're going to start. And I mean, it all depends on budget. Of course, if we're sure, we'll have to delay. But if we're on point, as we should be, I hope, we'll start. It'll be an 18-day production date. So it's going to be, very intense. And then, of course, it takes time to get it edited, which is probably 3 months or so. Some people might hear me, they're going to be like, oh, she's ambitious. It takes longer than that. We'll see how long it'll take. But the goal is for, of course, film festival and streaming it. Yeah, September 11th is the goal.
Will you be filming in Washington State?
Yes, I will. Yes, about 80% of our crew, probably 90 honestly at this point, is going to be Washingtonian. So the radius of our film is going to be taking place in the Kitsap County, King County, and Pierce County. So yeah, very local.
Because you had mentioned earlier, not that many films in Washington. And, it seem like because I'm in radio, I hear about people making movies, and they always seem to be like zombies, or I don't know.
Well, that's the reason why I'm making this one, because how I said, yeah, we have a lot of horror. There's a lot of horror, which is great. Honestly, it's fun. But at the same time, like, I like to make movies that I like to be in. Yeah, the weather doesn't help. So we need some sunshine, and, having this love story, hope, and sunshine in there makes it a little different, makes it stand out. In fact, we make this film stand out on its own just because of the nature of it.
Is it pretty serious? Is it kind of a rom-com funny?
It's a little, I mean, it's like your Fat Greek Wedding style. Some feeling of Princess Bride, because of the fantasy, even though it is real life, which is really funny. There is some comedy relief in there. So I would say a rom-com drama, faith-based, because there is faith value in there. It's a lot of family support within the sector of the Catholic Church. It's more like situations that happens to this actress, to the character, and she reacts and continues moving forward.
Wow.
Yeah.
And didn't you meet on Catholic Match or something like that?
Yeah, we did. It's funny because I never believed and meeting people online. Like, I actually, one time I did that just for the fun of it. And of course, my little brother found out. He posed as this amazing, handsome guy. And I told him about it. I'm like, hey, this guy just talked to me. And he's like, is his name so-and-so? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, how did you know? And then I start putting things together. I'm like, wait a minute. Now he's like 12 years old. And I'm like 23. I got catfish my own little brother. I was horrible. And so then when I met my husband online, I didn't take it seriously that I was going to find someone. I thought, I'm like, this is just another joke like last time, bitter, of course. And then, then I meet him, but then like, that night, either before or after, I have that dream where I meet my husband. And then I'm like, wait a minute, why do I feel this connection? And then I really start talking to him, and it just went from there. But yeah, Catholic Match was definitely the place where it's at for some people.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So you were telling me when we met that day that you love to make up stories for your kids and tell them, and then do you turn them all into books?
Yes. Well, okay. So I guess, honestly, it's some things as you get older, you discover more about yourself. I didn't really know I was much of a storyteller. And I would say I am because I'm also a photographer. So I create stories with my setups. I grew up with my parents telling me stories. A lot of times they just made it up because like, I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to. So their imagination expand my imagination. And as I had kids, they tell me a story. And there are nights where I literally surprise myself. And sometimes I wonder, maybe I should just record myself in case there's a cool one out there. Because a lot of times they say, so when is that movie coming out? Or is that a movie? Even before I start doing film. And I'm like, no, that's not a movie. That's just a story. And so there was one that they just kept insisting. And so I decided to write it. It's called The Adventures of Lily at Cold Creek Farm, which is on Amazon. And that was my first one. And there's another one that once I'm done with this film, I'm going to devote on doing this one because it's so fun. It's called the home of Pinky, like one of your little pinkies from your hand. So it's really fun, and that's probably going to be my next book.
First of all, when I think about actor, when I was growing up, they were actresses and actors. When did all that change to just actor?
Well, there's a difference between actor and celebrity. I think just the word actor itself is just general. It can be very specific, I think, with the role of I'm an actress specifically, or I'm part of the actor world. Then it's, I don't know what's plural or something like that. Honestly, I don't know when it changed. I always thought of just the word actor in general. And I was confused for a while, the difference between an actor and a celebrity, because eventually an actor turns into a celebrity when you get discovered, and then you get to be more like, especially if you're cast in, like, let's say the show Wednesday, for instance, and you're like one of the side characters there, and then that show picks up. Eventually someone else will reach out to you as a lead, even though you had a minor role, but because you're associated with a well-known series or film, then your character, or your not character, but your career starts to take off, because now you're becoming the face of this film. And then once that's, it's just a roller coaster. And eventually you reach up to the top. I mean, I think it's getting honestly easier now with social media and networking and people doing more things virtual. There's been a shift in Hollywood as well, where there's more people becoming independent. There's a lot of people getting out and creating their own thing. But also something I noticed is that when you look at the IMDb credits, a lot of actors or actresses are not just actors. Like, they're also writers, or they're producers or casting directors. Like this hustle is real. Like, now you have to do like 4 things in order to make it in life. So I'm like, this is why I'm doing this, to really stay on the competitive side and bring not just a competitive side, but you're also bringing extra talents and skills in production that you can be helpful for.
And how did you get into acting?
By accident. I swear, by accident. My background is I'm an artist. I draw. I do sculpting. I do artwork. And my brothers always made fun of me. Like, you're the one who got the talent that doesn't make money. And I'm like, yeah, they sing and they compose music, and So I'm like, yeah, that's great. I don't know what to do with this. And so then I went into in high school. I did a few plays. So I did theater, and then in college I did some acting classes. But it was, again, in the back of my mind, but always performing here and there. And then I did some pageants and modeling. And then I picked up my camera. I became a photographer. And then from there, all my social media got deleted, years of work, literally. And then I started over, and I connected with somebody saying, why don't you go into acting? Because I want to do modeling. And I'm like, well, you have to be 5'7" in order to be runway. But like, I'm like, I can do print. But anyways, I'm like, I'll entertain the idea of becoming an actress. I'll go back into it. And so I fell in love with that. But I knew that if I became an actress, just like a model, when I became a model, I became a photographer. And when I became an actress, I became also a producer. It's wow. I have to be both. It's my DNA. I don't know. I'm like, maybe there's a Jewish side in me that's just really kicking out.
Is that your heritage? Are you
part
Jewish?
Of it? I do have part of that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Fell into it. But what then, like, did you take classes in college too, or just high school?
No, I took acting classes. I never taken film classes though. But I do have a business degree in project management. So when you are around the entertainment, I think I've been around the entertainment world for 20 years in different categories. But then it really blends pretty well. And of course, there's also a lot of mentors and friends that have helped me over the years, connections with other photographers, models, again, the group of people that are part of my crew, part of my team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to say I had like formal classes for filmmaking, if you will.
When you got onto your first film, how did you audition for it? Did somebody ask you to be on it? How did that work?
I made it myself because I was not patient to audition. I'm like, well, I started around the time of, let's see, October and August, September. In October, getting close to fall, early, when a lot of projects are already happening. Like people are already cast and they're already producing, or they're going to produce for the summer. So not knowing a lot of people and networking. So, because there's a new world in the area of filmmaking or acting. I honestly, when I went on Facebook, I started I'm like, I just want to be a commercial actress. Does anybody know? That's literally where I started, and I didn't hear anything. And I'm like, I see again, go back to the movies of the genres that are fun, but not my main area. And I didn't see any like wholesome movies. And so I'm like, let's just do something short. And then I challenged myself. I'm like, let's do my first short in a different country. Because that's where I had some friends, and my mom was there too. I'm like, well, free babysitting, might as well let's just do it here in Canada. So that's where I started, and then from there, honestly, the second time I did a film, it was at home with my 80D camera, Canon, which it also does record. And so I created a story of Bigfoot, which is called Big Prince. It's my next movie. I'm like, if you're a filmmaker and you're in the state of Washington, you have to make a movie about Bigfoot. It's a thing.
You know what podcasts are. They're basically a party in your purse. People take your voice with them while they drive, walk the dog, clean the kitchen, or avoid folding laundry. And if you've ever thought, I should start a podcast someday, Podcrafter is your someday. Inside the membership, you get my podcast tools, live office hours twice a month, and support to help you stop spinning and start showing up as the authority you already are. Your voice, your legacy. Let's get heard. Hi, I'm Lori Hardy, and you can click the link in the description to get connected.
I'm like, if you're a filmmaker and you're in the state of Washington, you have to make a movie about Bigfoot. It's a thing. So I made it black and white, takes place in the 1920s. I'm next to a forest. I did the costume, the editing, the sound design, like the whole stuff. It's right now it's in the film festival. So far, I got nominated by 2, and 3 places are going to be streaming it. And so I just found it funny, like something that I made, like literally home videos. It's not home video style. I did make it with good style, but it's just like everything that we did at home got picked up. So because of that, it gave me more courage. I'm a person who likes to get accolades, those little gold stars kind of students, because that's my incentives. And so I'm like, okay, let's do something more. And so then I then decided to do another short film called Mom Switched, which we just finished filming it, and now it's in the post-production. That one's going to be amazing. I am so excited about that one, and I'm going to promote it as much as possible. I already have a place where it will be dubbed in Portuguese, which I think is really going to be fun. So that was kind of happening at the end while producing this one. It's exciting. It's so tiring, but there's so much adrenaline behind it. I think when you find your passion, there's no, sleep doesn't matter anymore. I know I need to remember to take care of myself, but it's just so fun. It's like this creative high, I've heard that's people call it.
I love that you saw a need and you filled it. You're like, okay, I don't see a film I like, so I'm going to make one.
Yeah.
And just like with your kids, you just make up stories. And I think it's such a wonderful model and example, because so often we hear people try to live their dream, but they have all these buts. Yeah, but. And you're like, yeah, whatever. You're like, just go and make it happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, I live with the motto is what if? I always say that. What if I do this and I go to do it? And I'm an introvert, believe it or not. It does take me a lot of courage to put myself out there. So what I do, and I'm not the best swimmer either. In fact, there's a little story about that. I went to Leavenworth with my girlfriends when I was younger, and I saw they look like little hobbits. They're like 2-year-olds, 1-year-olds swimming by themselves in this pool that's deep. And I can't swim because I had a little trauma when I was younger. I almost drowned one time. So I'm like, I'm trying to get over this. So I see them and I tell my friends, hold on to my purse. I literally had my everything on, just took off my shoes, and I ran and jumped in the water. And I don't know, I was able to swim. I learned how to swim. And so since then, that's how I approach life. I hold my breath and I just go for it. If I get rejected, I take it with a mental of a business perspective. It is not personal. I'm just not the right fit for the right product moment. Let's go somewhere else. And I just keep going until I get a yes.
I love that. And that's kind of the, I don't know, the persistence and the thing that we hear so often with people that succeed. They go, "Oh, you were an overnight success." And like, wait a minute.
Oh,
That
there's a lot.
overnight success took 30 years of me saying yes and trying. And so I loved that about you when I met you. And you had this team around you that was all supportive and ready to go. And as a person in Washington, I mean, I know there's people that do filmmaking, but I didn't really know that it was like a big thing. There's a lot of filmmakers here and a lot of things.
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think one of the beautiful things about Washington and filmmaking is that very supportive, and like they're not jaded. I mean, compared to other states, and like if you need help, they're really, even if it's not part of their project, they're willing to jump in and help you out. And I think that honestly made me feel like I was part of a new family, a friendship. Like I found my clan, you know, my crew, and so I just feel more. I feel like I'm part of something big, but not just big. It's also an opportunity where you are going to be a leader, and people are trusting you with your stories because you're persuading people. You have a mission that you get to showcase with video. The same thing goes with me as a photographer. You know, people trust me with their pictures, with the storytelling behind the pictures, the editorial style, that I really get to capture their, you know, if it's a family, their family dynamic, or if it's a wedding, the feeling and the emotion. Different with film because it's a motion picture, but it's the same idea. It's that these people are going to get a feeling, they're going to get a reaction, they're going to get influence, and they're going to make something because they got told or they got influenced by this film. And that's why I always want to focus in film that is, you know, that has some form of value, you know, either faith-based or true love, or a message about like why you should take care of your family, or why, you know, priority of life kind of thing, with creative aspects, you know, not very much like in your face preaching or like making it like an agenda, but rather just a very natural humanity way of seeing things.
And story is so important. In fact, this morning I got a text from a friend and she said, "My mom passed away last night." And so I called her immediately and she said, "You know, I didn't really realize this, but when I found out she passed, I could hear her voice in my head telling the story of, you know, I woke up this morning and it didn't feel like she said, I just imagined her telling me the story." And she goes, "I realized that I am her legacy to pass on her stories, that I learned storytelling from her. But as a kid, I just thought, oh, mom's telling another story." It's legacy.
It is. It is. I mean, well, that's what the story of The Adventures of Lily from Cold Creek Farm is actually the story of my mom's childhood. I wrote it down because I'm like, I want to. First of all, her childhood was so fun. I mean, you know, it's like very much an outdoor, you know, different generation. But just like everything of her life has some form of morality that she always used stories to teach us how to be better people. Not like, if you don't do this, you're gonna go to timeout, but rather like a lifestyle. She did such a good job that I'm like, I could hear my mom screaming at me if I'm doing something I'm not supposed to. Even if I'm an adult, I'm like, wait, where are you? Like, it's just, she got in my head. And so I'm like, I want to make sure my kids, not in a fear way, but just like remembering, like, you know, your values, your roots, your family, storytelling, especially coming from people that love you. Obviously, I think the connection of love and trust is what makes those stories stick to you. And the same thing is when I create a team, and, you know, as a producer, I want to have a family in my production. I want people to know that this is as much as this my film is also your film. It has the same value, because honestly, when there's trust and love, things are smooth. What makes a film really difficult is when your team or crew doesn't align with you or respect you. And of course, funding. That's like the hardest of anybody. But when you have, I mean, you know, when one of those is there, like, you know, you have that unity, the funding part is simple, because now, you know, like, all right, we're a team. We're going to do this and do that. And we're going to make it happen. That's kind of how I see things. I might have jumped ahead in terms of what makes it hard, you know, production or filmmaking, but that's one of them.
And I guess that's another thing too, is like filmmaking is expensive. So you can't just fund it all yourself. So you've got to find people interested that'll back you. Is that right?
Yes, there are, there are different things like, of course, anything that's 5 million and over, you're getting in the Hollywood section. Anything under that it's a mid-level indie film, and anything under 100,000 is a very short. But there are people, again, it depends. There's those passionate filmmakers that you're just a bunch of group of friends, either college students or just, professionals that want to do something on the side because there's a vision. They don't just do it for the glamour of film festivals and celebrity lifestyle. Of course, those are fun, and also an opportunity to dress up and look cute and have friends, and celebrate, which is kind of how I see it too. But yeah, there's different levels of projects. I think the first two, the first one was very much like that, passionate. The one that I did at home was more family, and again, it was just like, what can I pull off from this? It's a challenge, and also to give my kids the opportunity to grow in their career. And then, with these other ones that we were doing, yeah, then there's a little bit more budget that a lot of times, you want to have like 1,000 or so that you want to fund. Like, for example, you want to have your job. I always say, have your job. And then on the side, if you have this, do it. And if the goal is to eventually just do this full time, if that's really your calling. But I wouldn't suggest right away, drop your job and become a filmmaker. Like, you have to have that. And why is because a lot of times you become vulnerable. People take advantage of you, and it's just very difficult. But then when you get closer to more higher end, it also depends on the connections, the people you meet. And of course, the longer you're in the game, that I'm noticing, the more valuable people come into your life. Valuable not meaning because they have money, but because there's just a class of type of people that are just, I don't know, they're just good people. And then you can spot, like, I want those people on my team. And then you make something even better. And then it does open the doors for money, because now you have investors, or you have a gala that you go to, and then you meet potential investors there that become your friends, and it just kind of grows from there, and it gets really wild afterwards. But that's kind of the system that I see happening.
I think it's so cool that you're doing this, and it's like right here in my state, you're making a movie, and that you are just like this normal person that anybody can walk up to and say hello.
Yeah.
So before we go, tell us again your movies and your books that they can find right now, and where they can find them.
I don't know the link at the top of my head, but the book, it's in Amazon. So it's called The Adventures of Lily from Cold Creek Farm. It's a long title, but I'm like, that's where it was. It was in a farm that was called Cold Creek Farm, and her name is Lily. The feature film that I'm doing is called Starlight and You. You can find it on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok, YouTube, and we also have a fiscal sponsorship that it's for investments, so it's a tax deductible, and this is really opening to people, local businesses, small businesses. I really target that, especially in Washington. I'm like, you see Walmart or whatever making these big commercials. Why don't you guys do that? And here's an opportunity for you to be in a film where we can go literally shoot like the wedding. There's a wedding scene in this film. So like, if you're a wedding shop, we go to your wedding and shop, and we film it there. You can be a background in that section. We showcase one of your wedding dresses on a lead who is also a celebrity, and your logo's on there, and it's going to be showing all over the world. Like, and then you get your money back because of tax deductibles. So like, how cool is that? So like, we have those incentives, product placement, investment, angel donors. And again, also going to the churches, Christian churches or non-denominational. Like, this is a story about family value, friendship, romance, these values that a lot of times are lost, especially with family unity. So it really is, again, it's a unique film, and it also has this market for Spanish speakers as well as English, Italian speakers. Our goal is for the US, for Spain, and Latin America, and of course, anywhere else we can send it. So yeah, the dream is ambitious, and I strongly believe in it. I think it's going to happen. So that's where you guys can find it, support us, follow us, and kind of contact us, because there's always a room for people to be in that film.
I love that. Lilia, before we go, this has been so fun, and I feel like educational. What is it that you really want us to know?
Oh, well, okay. I really want you guys to know, and I love improv. I want you guys to have fun in life. I mean, like, find the thing that makes you happy. For me, it has always been arts, and I never knew. I dwelled a little bit of, here and there, and finally I found what I really enjoy. So life is short, but life can be also long if you find something that brings you joy, because joy helps your body and makes you live longer. So do that. And also, like, don't put yourself obstacles. Don't wait for permission from other people. As an artist, especially, you never show your artwork ahead at a time. You just do it because people are going to have different opinions, and then longer is your artwork. Just do it. And there's always going to be a buyer. There's always going to be a producer. There's always going to be somebody who's going to enjoy, and there's always going to be somebody watching you. So make sure you do the best.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Yeah, this was awesome.
Next time on Interrupted.
So if you are in the Seattle area, we're doing what we call wine and woo events, start to get people a little bit more open to trying some of these modalities. And we're having a blast. In July, going to start a series of immersive experiences.
If you love this podcast, here's a big ask. Will you share with your friends and family, subscribe, give us a review, and a 5-star rating so that others looking to reinvent their lives will be able to get the help they're looking for? Thank you in advance.